Hi, this is Kari Schick, and I am with Consistently Creative Crew with Cheryl and Colleen. And this evening we were creating the project recipe Spring Equinox by Creative Memories. And Colleen demonstrated how to create this layout traditionally with paper, and it turned out really well. And I wanted to show how to do this digitally using Forever Artisan software. So this is the actual layout that we created. There were a number of unique things with this actual layout here. So they had a punch that they used that you can kind of see here. That's this dragonflies. This was a knockout punch for them, and it actually has an edge, and it's on both sides of the layout. You know, you can see it on the right and the left edge. They also had this banner that was a banner cut that goes on the left page. And then they had these circles that were cut in half on the right page, and they put a row of them over here on the bottom and another row on the top. Everything else kind of comes together fairly easily, but I thought it would be interesting to show how to create this. They used 3 sheets of designer paper and did reverse one of the pieces. So this piece with the circles that were cut in half is actually the back side of another sheet of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through the layout. If you wanted to see the rest of the Spring Equinox collection, they gave us the advisor guide. So you can see here that there were 3 sheets of designer paper. They also used bright white cardstock as the base, and then they had a couple of different ideas for suggested paper pairings that you might want to use. And so it took 5 sheets of paper to do this. They also used their trimmer, their border maker. That was that dragonfly punch. They also used a circle punch in order to punch those circles that they then cut in half. But people who did not have that could use the custom cutting system, but we have it pretty easy with the Artisan software. We can just create the circle of whatever size we want and then cut it in half. So I am going to just show you, this is the layout. And so I'm going to actually use my snipping tool and take a snip of this and copy this onto my clipboard. I'm going to move that off to my other screen and kind of going through the cutting guide. So all of that pink is designer paper 1, and they have a number of dimensions here. Designer paper 2 only goes down into 2 pieces, and designer paper 3 has 3 pieces plus the punches. So we'll be able to put those in and create all of those. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to just slide this over to my other screen. And this was my finished layout, but I'll come back to that. I'm going to go ahead and just do 1 page at a time. And I'm going to add that layout and just put it over here off to the side so I can kind of see it and know what's going on. So a lot of this is just going to be rectangles. It'll come together pretty easily. And I'll just pull this back. While this is not a duplicated page or a mirror image page exactly, I am going to create it as a mirror image because what I saw here is we've got strips along the top and along the bottom. We've got this little narrow strip here. We've got this yellow piece that's similar on both sides, this other part. There's a lot of things we can reuse without rebuilding everything from scratch. So I'm going to end up creating the left page, and then I'm going to mirror image it and put it on the right. So I'm going to insert shape, insert a rectangle, and I'm going to make it 12 by 0.75. And it's already pink because that was the last color that I was actually using. But if I wanted to capture it again, I could just sample it and click create. And I know this one's going to go in the upper right hand corner. So I'm just going to go up to the quick access toolbar and set the X and the Y to 0, 0. Now I'll go ahead and do this PC. So I'm just going to right click copy, right click paste, and C is actually 1 inch tall. So I know that that piece is going to have to go down to 11 in order to have it down at the bottom edge. So that's A and C. And then if I want to go ahead and cut this next part, which is F, I'm just going to stay within the pink. So I'm just going to I've already copied it. I'm going to paste it. So that was F, and that is 4 inches by 0.75. And then the next piece, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. This piece needs to be 4 inches and 2.75. Now this is the piece that we're going to end up making a banner cut. So you can't really tell here. It's not really one piece here. F and G are separate pieces. So it's not a whole big piece of paper that's put all the way behind all of this. And then they just banner cut G. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So one of the easiest ways we have found to banner cut is to give ourselves a ruler marker, and then we want to line it up right in the middle of that box, which shows us where the center is. So I'm going to try to line it up there, but I'm going to zoom in so that I can see it. You can see I did a pretty good job. So I've got the shape selected. I'm going to right click shape, edit shape, and I'm going to grab a point here, and I am going to just line it up right about there. And you can see I'm on that center line, and then I can click OK. If I decide later on that I want to move it, all I have to do is right click shape, edit shape, and I could drag that point down a little bit more or up or whatever I needed to do and click OK. So that's all of the items that are pink on that page. So that's all of those. So now I'm going to go to designer paper 2, which all I need is I. So I'm going to insert shape rectangle, and this is going to be a 12 by 6, and this one is yellow. Oh, I should probably sample it right there. Okay. And I know that this is going to end up here. I'll worry about getting in position later on. And that's good enough for right now. And then I've got these green pieces. So K, L, and N. So let's go ahead and insert a shape. This one is 10 by 1.75. And the fill is going to be this green. And that one's going to be up here somewhere. And I just am going to copy, and I'm going to paste because I need another one. So now I just want to get everything lined up. So the information that Creative Memories provided for this is that you wanted this to be the top corner. It was like right about here, I think, and here. And then this is going to get lined up. I'm going to go ahead and drag those 2 pink pieces up to the top. Drag that up here. And then I'm going to put this down here. I know that's not quite where I'm going to need them, but address that in a bit. I need this piece N, and it ultimately is going to be a 1 inch by 6 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just create it now, 1 by 6. And I'm going to click create. And that's going to go over on this side. So what they had indicated is that piece I is 2¼ inches from the top of the left page. So they wanted this to be 2.25. And then everything else kind of fell from that. And then this, somehow that doesn't seem right. 2¼ inches. Okay, that's because these two were supposed to be 1.25, not 1.75. Okay, now that'll make sense. So this is gonna slide down there. Now there's a little space. This one is still good there. And then I don't know that they gave us a place to put these. So I'm just going to line them up right there, make certain that they're centered with each other. And then there's a spot for 2 photos. So empty frame, and I'm going to do another empty frame. It's like both of them. I want them to be 4 by 5.5. And I'm just going to drag one here, and then that is pretty much my page for that side. So I'm just going to center these, and then I think we're good. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to kind of shape out of here, you want to use a border strip, you can do all of that. So I'm going to save the page, and then I'm going to go ahead and mirror image this page to create the next page. So I'm going to go, now we've got a mirror image, and it actually, I'm going to flip this back so we can see it properly. So you can see we've got the top strip and the bottom strip. Put that on the top. B and D are already here. This N is here. We don't need these 2 strips, but we need one of them. So I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to turn this into this big strip M. And M is 5 by 9. It's 5 by 9. And I believe that this is still, we're going to have this, we want this over towards the side. Like that. And then what do we need? So then we have 2 photos, and they're going to be 3.5 by 3.5. And I don't need either of these, so I'll get rid of that. And then this piece was only 9 inches wide in this second side. So J was 2.25 from the top, and it needs to be along the right edge. So I want to put it at y = 3. And now you can see it lines up. So I need to put one pink piece for E, and this photo, and then the circles. Okay. So let me go ahead and insert this rectangle, and this one, not an ellipse, insert a rectangle. And this one is 6.5 by 4.5. And I want this one to be pink. I'm just going to select the pink. And that's going to end up somewhere in here. I'll go ahead and add the empty frame, 6 by 4. And I want these aligned with the 2nd and the 5th. I'm going to go ahead and just align it horizontally there and leave it like that. So that's close enough for right now. I don't know, these are going to line up somewhere like that. And I probably want to move them in enough that they aren't going to take a chance of getting misprinted. Okay, so now the circles. So I think everything else is here. So the circles are fairly easy. Creative Memories said that this was a 1.75 inch circle. So if we're going to create that, we can just go to Insert Content, Shape Ellipse. And I'm going to select 1.75 and 1.75. And that gives me a good circle. And I'm just going to click create. And the nice thing about this is that I can actually just go to cutters straight edge. It's okay to flatten. And you can see that with the angle of 90, it selects right in the center, and I can keep both areas and cut. So now I've got one set, and I know I'm going to need a couple of sets of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and create a couple of sets. So we're going to end up putting them up here and down here. So the nice thing about this is that they're going to line up perfectly. So what I can do is place it and place all the tops. And I could put just 4 and have it end here. You can see that they had more, went over a little bit farther, and I could have it go over to here if I wanted. But I'm going to go ahead and go to here. Now I'm pretty certain that based on the dimensions that they gave and the fact that these circles are 1.75, that there is no way to fit 6 of those in this 9-inch space. So how you want to do this is up to you. This needs to come up below that. And then these 2 pictures need to be dragged to the top like that. And then I need to get that piece above that. So I played around with a little bit to try to determine how did I want to have this kind of laid out in my final picture. And you can see that they have, it looks like they have a few things overlapping here. And again, it's going to depend on what colors you have. So let me show you again what their layout looks like at the end. So they have, it looks like they fit in a whole bunch more circles, and I'm thinking they didn't have a 1.75-inch circle based on the fact that this strip or this piece of paper was 9 inches. But that's okay. You can do it however we want, right? And the way they have it layered is they have these 2 photos sitting on top of this. I don't think that there is any additional partial half circles up here. And that in essence is that entire layout. If you were interested and wanted to cut a shape out of this one, you could always use the cutters shaped edge and make a cut. So in my sample layout, I took this arch, which is in one of the built-in kits that we have. It's just an edge, and cut it out. And then I did it twice, and then I put them back together. So that's one thing you could do. You could also, let's say you wanted to use butterflies. I could select that shape, and I could make them maybe a little bit bigger. And I could space them out a little bit, and maybe I wanted it to fit a little bit nicer, so I could have it like that. And I could cut, and I could keep both areas and cut. And so if you wanted to have it as like a knockout, it would be like this. And if you just wanted to have the punch, you could have that one. So whichever way you wanted to do it, you could do it that way. And I think, it's kind of a neat look to have here on your page. I'm just getting back to that. Okay. So let me show my 2-page view. And that's pretty much what the layout looks like. And I'll show again my sample page that I created. And there were some other really, really nice sample pages or that other people created. And I think that if you want to take a look at them, they will be on the Consistently Creative Croppers Facebook group. Definitely go take a look at them or watch the video of the traditional layout. If you fast forward to the end, you'll see all of the layouts that people created both traditionally and digitally, and I think they turned out really nice. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did create, please feel free to share the image, a JPEG of your layout. We'd love to see what you created and how you utilize this project recipe. And it's definitely one that you could create and make your own in whatever format you wanted. So thanks so much for watching, and we hope that you enjoyed that.